My old Schwinn was groaning more than usual this morning, each pedal a little protest. Still, it was my legs that were the engine these days, my lifeline to Mrs. Henderson's for those surprisingly good blueberry scones. 3 miles each way, not bad for a Tuesday. The sun was doing that hazy gold thing, making the asphalt shimmer a bit. I was humming some forgotten tune, the kind that just pops into your head from decades ago. Then came the first ping. Not a good sound, like a dropped wrench hitting concrete. I eased off the pressure, hoping it was just a loose something. Another ping, closer this time. Uh-oh. Then it happened, right there. A sickening snap, and the chain went slack. The pedals spun uselessly. I wrestled with the handlebars, trying to keep upright. But momentum had its own ideas. Next thing I knew, my feet skidded on loose gravel, and I was rolling to a stop, right in front of that place. Steel stallions. Even from the curb, the rumble of engines and the heavy metal leaking from the open door was enough to make my stomach clench. Leather and chrome glinted in the sun. Tattoos snaked up arms. I could feel eyes on me, even without looking up. My bike, suddenly dead weight, was now blocking their prime hangout spot. Great. Just great. I'd have to heave this thing past them, try to look invisible while doing it. No way I was asking for help. Not here, not from them. They were watching. I could feel it, like a pack of, well, you know, leaning back in those beat-up chairs, boots propped on tables, beer bottles clutched in hands that looked like they could crush a beer can without even trying. The sun glinted off the chrome on their bikes, lined up like some kind of metal army. I tried to ignore them, focusing on the mess at my feet. The chain was completely off, twisted like a pretzel. I pulled out my multi-tool, that rusty thing I'd had for ages. My hands weren't exactly steady. A bit of the shakes, you know. But also, well, the eyes on me. "Lost, old-timer?" someone drawled. The voice was low, gravelly. I didn't look up, just grunted, pretending to be completely absorbed in the mangled chain. I could hear a chuckle, then another, like a chorus of, well, you know. "Maybe he took a wrong turn from the retirement home," another one called out. More laughter. I clenched my jaw. I'd heard worse, much worse. I tried to fit a link back together, but my fingers slipped. The tool clattered onto the asphalt. I had to bend down to pick it up, and that's when I saw the boots. Big, black, heavy-looking things. They were all around me. I straightened up slowly, grabbing the tool, and just kept my eyes on the chain. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing me sweat. This chain was a stubborn beast. Every time I thought I had it, it slipped again. My fingers were getting greasy, my back was starting to ache, and the sun was beating down on my neck. I almost gave up. Almost. I pictured myself trying to push this thing all the way home, those 3 miles, with them watching. Number, not yet. I took a deep breath, tried to focus. There was one guy in particular who seemed to be watching me more than the others. He wasn't laughing, just watching. He had a shaved head, a thick beard, and a patch on his leather jacket with some kind of emblem. I couldn't quite make it out from here. He was leaning against a motorcycle, arms crossed. I couldn't read his expression. Was he just waiting for me to give up? Then he pushed himself off the bike. My stomach tightened. Here it comes, I thought. The final crushing blow to my dignity. He started walking towards me, his boots loud on the pavement. I braced myself. I didn't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't. "Need a hand with that?" He didn't sound mocking, just gruff. A gruff question. I stared at him, blinking. I hadn't expected that. Not at all. He was big, really big, towered over me even when I was standing up as straight as my old spine would allow. I could see the details now, the leather, the patches, the way his eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at me. He was the leader, no doubt about it. The way the others seemed to give him space, the way they fell silent as he moved. I didn't know what to expect. A lecture? A joke at my expense? He stopped right in front of me, looked at the bike, then back at me. I tried to meet his gaze, but it wasn't easy. He had this presence, like a storm cloud that hadn't quite broken. He didn't smile. He didn't sneer. Just watched. Then he bent down. Not to mock me, not to point, but to actually look at the broken chain. He ran a thick finger along the links, then looked up at me again. Still no expression. Then he did something that surprised me. He straightened up, walked over to my bike, and lifted it. Like it was lighter than it was. He turned it around, looked at the chain again, then back at me. "You coming?" he asked. His voice was rough, like gravel, but not unkind. I blinked. I didn't know what to say. I just stared. I followed him. I'm not sure why exactly. Maybe it was the way he carried the bike, like it mattered. Maybe it was the look in his eyes, something different. The bar was dark, a welcome change from the glare outside. It smelled of leather, beer, and something oily, like a garage. It was loud too, but not in a mean way. More like busy. He walked straight to a pool table and, with one sweep of his arm, sent the balls scattering. They clattered into pockets, a surprisingly delicate sound in this place. Then, he set my bike down on the green felt. "Let's see what we're working with," he said, and suddenly, they were all around. Toolkits appeared. Not fancy ones, but solid, well-used things. They started looking at the chain, talking in low voices. "Chain's shot completely," one of them said. "Links are worn through." Another one pointed at the brakes. "Cables are frayed too." I just stood there, watching. These weren't the guys I thought they were. Not the ones I'd seen from the curb. They were mechanics. They were actually fixing it. Not just patching it up, but really fixing it. One guy, with a surprisingly gentle touch, was working on the chain, replacing links, making sure it ran smooth. Another was fiddling with the brakes, tightening cables, checking the tension. They were talking to each other, not in a mean way, but in a working way. Like they knew what they were doing. I found myself watching one of them, a woman with tattoos that looked like they told stories. She was explaining something about the brake cables, her hands moving with a confidence I envied. I realized I was listening. Actually listening. I even asked a question, something about the tension of the cable. And she answered. Not like I was some old guy bothering her, but like I was someone who wanted to know. It wasn't just the bike anymore. It was something else. A shared task, a common goal. They weren't just fixing metal. They were, connecting. And I was part of it. Me, the guy with the broken down Schwinn, surrounded by these bikers. It was unexpected. The bike was different. Gleaming, almost. They'd cleaned it, replaced parts I didn't even know were worn out. It moved like it was new. And then he came back. The big one, the leader. He was holding something folded in his hands. Leather. It looked familiar, but different. He came right up to me. "We can't make you a steel stallion," he said, his voice still rough, but softer. "That takes a different kind of service." He unfolded the leather. It was a vest, like theirs, but simpler. On the back it had their logo, the snarling horse, but above it one word, in bold letters, respect. He put it on me. It fit, perfectly, like it had been made for me. I didn't know what to say. My throat felt tight. I touched the word, the letters raised under my fingers. Respect. He held out his hand. His grip was strong, but gentle. "Thank you for your service, Marine," he said. My hand, it was shaking. Not from the shakes, not really, but from feeling. I wheeled the bike out. It felt lighter, smoother, like it was gliding on air. They were all there, lined up outside the bar. The sun was setting, painting everything in this orange glow. They weren't laughing, weren't shouting. Just there, watching. Then they started their engines. The roar was different. Not angry, not mocking. It was a salute. They fell in behind me, a whole parade of motorcycles keeping a respectful distance. I rode down Main Street, people staring. Cars pulled over. I could feel the heat from the engines behind me, the rumble vibrating through me. We got to my apartment complex. They formed a line on both sides of the walkway. I pushed the bike between them. Each one nodded as I passed. A silent acknowledgement. He was there, the leader. He stepped forward. "You need anything," he said. "Anything at all, you come to us." Then he looked at the bike. "And that bike ever gives you trouble again, you bring it straight to Steel Stallions." I nodded. I didn't trust my voice. Things changed after that. Not in a big, dramatic way, but in small, noticeable things. I went back to the grocery store a few days later. As I pedaled past the Steel Stallions, I saw them. A couple of guys were putting up something next to the entrance. A plaque, it looked like. When I came back, it was up. Brass, shiny. It said, in simple letters, "Here, respect is earned and remembered." I kept pedaling, but I saw it. I saw it clear as day. And it wasn't just the plaque. It was the way people looked at me now, the way they looked at the bar. The bikers, they were still the Steel Stallions, loud, proud themselves, but something had shifted. It was subtle, but it was there, a new understanding, a new connection. And me? I started riding a little straighter. That leather vest, the one with the word on the back, it wasn't just hanging in my closet. It was a reminder. Now, when I ride past, it's a ritual. They see me coming. Conversations stop. Engines cut off. Helmets come off. Every single one of them. From the young guys just hanging around to the big man himself, they stand there. Quiet. Still. Until I've gone past. They never said anything about it. Never made a big deal. They just do it. It's a strange thing, this respect. I earned it a long time ago in a different place, wearing a different kind of leather. But to find it here, now, unexpected and genuine, it means something. It reminds me that maybe, underneath it all, we're not so different. We see things. We understand things, even without saying a word. I still ride my bike. It's a good bike now, thanks to them. And I still wear the vest sometimes. It's comfortable. But more than that, it's a reminder. A reminder that kindness can come from the places you least expect. That respect knows its own. And sometimes honor just takes a little longer to catch up.